There is nothing more British than a Jaguar. When I think of Jaguars, I think of country piles and XJs.
I think of Mark IIs and British police dramas, period pieces.
But we've moved on since then, and today we're reviewing the Jaguar XE
P300
all-wheel drive. New for this update were these beautiful LED lights. We're now all LED outside, front and back. And this absolutely gorgeous black grille and this just inky black, it just looks sensational. And of course, we've got the growler. I always try and work that into an interview. The black pack includes these beautiful 19-inch wheels with these tires, and these tires are so low profile, you'd think it'd ruin the ride, and it doesn't. There's some more black here on the Jaguar side vent, which is a fake side vent, but nonetheless. Up here, black mirrors as well, and this black treatment around the windows. There's also some black down here, look, under the door. I think that just adds a little touch of verisimilitude. There's this enormous glass panel on the roof that slides up and over the top of the roof. And this is something of particular interest. This shark fin normally contains just the radio aerial, but in this case, takes a picture straight over the back of the roof of the car and transmits it to the rear view mirror inside.
But it is an option.
It is an option, unfortunately. And strangely, this, which I think is very odd, the folding rear seats are a $460 option. There's also some little bag hooks either side in a rather useless place if you want my opinion. And underneath the floor is, hallelujah, a space saver spare. There's also a lot of other stuff in there too to do with electronics. How's the head?
It's a problem. No, there's about an inch space there. It's very elegantly appointed here, but it is small. It is tight for my knees that are very much up against here. There's no controls for temperature.
But there is some vents. Or there are some vents, I should say.
There are vents there, but and you can obviously turn them on or off or angle them. Down there is a 12-volt plug. Okay, well, I'm sitting well back.
It's got a few oddities. This is all touch stuff which comes alive when you turn the dash on. There's the R Dynamic insignia down on the steering wheel. But look here, this is a little bit unusual. This is how you unlock the steering wheel to adjust it.
We have contact.
And the digital dash comes into life. This is not as configurable as some of the other dashes that we've used, but you'll notice the steering wheel buttons have come to life. They're all backlit now. Center console. We start with a really lovely, big, wide armrest. And inside there's a feast of USBs. There's even a USB-C. There's a couple of 12-volt outlets, but interestingly you'll notice that my navman simply will not find a satellite under this windscreen. Center console, we've got the drive modes over here, the 8-speed gear selector, and some sort of descent control, auto stop start off, and traction control off, and this is the on-off for the radio. It's also the volume switch. Up here, if I just turn this on, we're going to get a blast of air, but you'll just have to put up with it. This screen lights up. Now these controls are touch screens, as you can see. And there's a little touch screen here in the middle which is lit up all the time while the climate is on or while the car's switched on. Up here is the Touch Pro system we were talking about.
One thing, Alan, this has a charger. Is that standard?
No, that's part of the update pack, which is very annoying. Down the side here you'll notice there's camera, and this is a particularly nifty camera. You can swipe around to get different views, or you can use the selector button over yonder, which will give you a view either away from the car or towards the car in any of those selected regions, which I think is just extraordinary.
Alan, white.
I think white upholstery is a mistake in any car. It looks fabulous for 13 seconds. I really like the quality of the feel of all of the stuff that's in this. Indicators, of course, on the wrong side. I don't know why a British car would have them on the wrong side, but there you go. There's more than enough power in this car.
221 kilowatts, that's Subaru STI, WRX STI.
Yeah, which in that we think is really powerful. Weight-wise, I think they're around the same, isn't that right? Would I be correct in assuming that?
1,630 something or others kilograms for this, which should be in the order of a WRX, and it does 0 to 100 in 5.9.
I think 5.9 for a little sport, because I think of Jaguars not only as space, grace and pace, but sporty pace.
5.9 is the same as, you remember, the i20 hatch N that we had the other i30.
i30, yeah.
N we had the other day.
Steering, very light around town. The weight for the steering changes depending on how fast you're going, which I quite like. I mean, a lot of cars do that, it's not unique to this, but it makes such a huge difference in a car that has such sporting pretensions. All right, we're now on the freeway, David, and I've slipped it back into sport. The thing I like about these sports modes is that this will go, you know, if you go forward, it goes down. If you go back, it goes up. So if I go up, I know I'm always going to go into dynamic mode. If I go down, I'll go into comfort mode or eco mode. Fuel consumption, they claim, what did we say it was, around 6 point, and I'm getting, my trip B summary is 9.6. I'm going to demonstrate your pet hate. I'm going to turn on the active cruise control by pressing up, and that's the only way you can do it. It's also activated the lane control as well, which seems to be very gentle in this car. It's doesn't seem to be ripping the wheel out of my hands like it does in some cars that we've driven recently. Around this favourite corner, which we used to demonstrate our handling, David, I put it into dynamic. You can hear the engine's got just that little bit more oomph, that little bit more sparkle. But of course we can't hear much inside because the damn thing's so quiet. See, that wasn't too hard around the corners. There's no raucous stuff. There's no, you don't feel uncomfortable.
A good luxury car makes you feel like you're swooshing quickly, but you're not aggressively driving. It takes it in its power.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that uptake.
And the sound?
Oh, I like it. Look, I think it sounds like a little buzzy sports car of the 60s. You know those, you know, the MG type 4-cylinder sports cars that had that little raspy tone to them. I really like that, and I think that's what's missing with modern motoring. Nowadays, if it doesn't have a V8 burble, we think it's absolutely no good. And of course, very soon there'll be no sound whatsoever.
This 2 litre, the nice thing about that sound was it didn't sound like it was screaming. You were having to wring its neck. It had a little bit of depth to the sound rather than a high-pitched squeal.
Absolutely. And that's the thing that I like about it. It feels like a genuine, proper car. Now, we've stopped so that I could get myself a coffee from a well-known takeaway brand. I'll try and keep covered up. I won't blur it out though. We're back on the freeway, heading back into town. David, what do you think?
Very light and easy, but not in a negative sense. It's very pleasing to drive.
And it's in the same class as BMW 3 Series, Audi A4, Mercedes C-Class.
And it's much better looking.
I think it's an absolute stunner. Now, one of the things that I've noted earlier in the week was this U around the front, which we always thought looked like a boat. And we saw that, remember, David, in that gorgeous XJ that we took down to Canberra?
That would be many years ago now.
Many years ago.
I'm about to get a vehicle.
Now, interestingly, that was a supercharged V8 and not all that much faster than this.
Bigger car, but yeah. It's the one that when we'd finished with it, they lent it to Prince Harry.
Indeed. Indeed. So the last bum on that seat was Prince Harry. It was a royal bum.
and they had to pull it apart to make sure there wasn't a bomb in it before they gave it to him. I don't know if that was judgment on you or me, Alan.
Did they really? I feel a bit slighted.
I think this is one of the most attractive, smaller cars on the market. Yes, the inside, especially in the back, very bijou. The seats are very firm, but I have driven it for a little bit of a distance and they were certainly comfortable.
It's certainly not the car you're going to put a tow rag in the back if it was a police car.
No, not even a small tow rag.
No.
But David, we've come to the point where we must say goodbye to this beautifully attractive Jaguar XE Black Edition R-Dynamic P300 all-wheel drive. You'll be on your pension by the time you finish saying that too many times.
But it looks beautiful, doesn't it?
Tick all those boxes and you're home and hosed. David, as always, it's come to the time when you must hit like.
Make a comment.
Or just here to subscribe.